Hello, you're listening to ReedyGeeks, a Walt Disney World podcast. My name is Andrew, and I'm joined here today by Dr. Seeker's assistant with a Dole Whip problem, JJ.
Oh, I mean, I'd sign up for that role.
I wondered if you had a Dole Whip problem, would that be a problem for Dr. Seeker? Is that grounds for termination?
Does it interfere with my work as a paleontologist? I'm just like spilling
Dole Whip
on
it depends on what he's putting into the Dole Whip.
These ancient artifacts.
Yeah.
We're like everyone's clearing a fossil facility, and I've just got my Dole Whip float ready to go.
And the paper fast pass snatcher, Sean.
That used to be my thing. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You would be the one that ran to get the fast pass?
I would sprint across the park. That would be me.
In today's episode, we share our most anticipated moments of a Walt Disney World vacation. Guess what, guys? I have some historical context.
Okay, let's hear it.
Spoiler alert.
All right. Here we go. There's a unique kind of excitement that builds in the days or even months leading up to a Walt Disney World trip. Whether it's that first glimpse of Cinderella Castle, the ritual of scanning into your first favorite park, or just knowing that you've got a Dole Whip on the horizon, every Disney fan has those moments they look forward to the most. In this episode, we're talking about our most anticipated parts of a Walt Disney World trip, the things that make us count down the days and keep us coming back.
Okay. Well, you said one of mine right away. That Dole Whip is something I look forward to. The first Dole Whip, implying that there's a daily Dole Whip.
Right. The first Dole Whip implies the existence of the second, a third, and maybe a fourth.
So this conversation we're about to have is actually well timed because JJ next weekend will be at Walt Disney World.
That's right. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Well, what is your most anticipated moment of
the most?
Trip?
I didn't rank these in order.
First
Dole Whip is definitely one of the things on my list, though.
Are you a cup soft serve Dole Whip, or are you a Dole Whip float?
I'm a float guy, and if they let you put rum in it, I'm always taking that option as well.
See, what's interesting is the Dole Whip. I've never had a Dole Whip with booze in it. I've never because they don't do it in the parks, and I've never been to. Well, they don't do it in the Magic Kingdom.
Right, they do it at the Polynesian, and they do it at Swirls on the Water.
I was gonna bring up highly ranked Swirls on the Water from the Mouse Madness bracket, but for me, the Dole Whip seems like something I don't know if I would want to taint. Like, I don't know if it's something that I've always known to be just a good, snack at Disney World. Do I want to experience
it almost becomes two things at the same time because it's pineapple juice and rum on the bottom, and then the top is just the Dole Whip in a cup.
And I do think, though, it changes the consistency a little bit.
Well, putting the alcohol in it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Or I guess maybe that's just the idea of it being a float.
Yeah,
I prefer it not to be a float.
Oh, really? You don't like you don't like rum at all, right?
No, I don't like rum. I mean, I'll have it. I'll take the rum.
Those are two different. Those are two different things. He does it, but will he drink it? Yes.
Well, I like drinking it. No.
That's honestly, that's kind of me in tequila. I'm not like super into much when it comes to tequila, but I do drink it.
Yeah. So, JJ, when do you start thinking about that Dole Whip? Is that something that you're thinking about pre-trip, or once you get into the parks, you're like,
once I get into the parks. When I'm leading up to a trip, the thing that most makes it feel real is either when you're paying cash for a room. I don't know if you remember this, but about a month out, they collect all the money for the room. So that day, it's like, we're really doing this.
Yeah, Andrew hasn't had to do that in a while.
Yeah, I haven't.
That final payment day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
nice.
That day to me was like, okay, this is real. This is happening. This is great.
Yeah. That's the equivalent for me is after the trip when you get your bill, your folio in your email, and it says 0. You know that you didn't pay anything, you didn't charge anything. It's that's nice.
Wow.
Well, it says 0 because you used all those points, though.
How? That's proprietary.
So I would say that I think a lot of people's anticipated moment, especially now, would be the lightning lane reservation when you get a lightning lane. So JJ, when was your day to get lightning lanes for your next trip?
It was actually yesterday.
Oh, how'd you do?
We did everything we wanted to do. I think we got pretty much our A for our multi. We got our A's, everything that we wanted. Good times. I think that also has to do with the fact that the 7-day window, it's like we had a buffer day. We're not going to a park on the day we arrive. So really we're looking from the 8th day onward.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
that helps that we weren't trying to get into a park. I mean, you can really tell a difference. Like the last day we're going, like I could get whatever I want. I can modify things. I could have made a stack and basically had all my lightning lanes between like 10 a.m. and 11 a.m.
That's a good tip to people is that you might want to save your plans for hard to get things for the end of your trip, so you can easily get it. So you could also do this with dining too.
Is that because there's just like statistically there's less people booking for those days at that time?
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
By the time you're 3 days out, a lot of times some of the stuff that you wanted, like for people that stay off site, if you're 3 days out, that sometimes really costs people getting their like a first selection.
Yeah.
Especially for multi-pass.
And it's funny, DVC has something similar to this too. It's called walking your reservation. And because you can book 7 or 11 months out, depending on what your resort you own and what resort you're trying to get. But you can start booking from your first day, right? Your first day that you want to book 11 or 7 months out. So if I can book this day 11 months from now, then I'm actually booking this day 11 months now plus
the stay, the length of your stay.
Yeah, the length of your stay plus the length of your stay. So you're more likely to get the end of your stay. Your room is more likely to be available.
Interesting.
Oh, right. Okay.
So what people do is then every day they move their reservation up so that you've already, by the time you get to the dates you actually want, you've already secured that first day of your trip, which is the hardest day to get.
Oh, okay. So, right, because you also are allowed to like cancel your reservation when you book a trip. You're not locked into those. When do you get locked in?
30 days out.
Okay, so that's just like paying cash.
Yeah. Yep.
So then why does it exist with people selling confirmed reservations? Why does that happen?
So that happens because if you have points that you are not going to use and you want to rent out those points to people, it's easier for someone to come along and find a reservation that like, oh, I would like to stay at the Poly and these dates work for me. Okay, I'll book that. Versus if someone came to me and said like, hey, Andrew, can you book the Poly for me? I want these dates. That's going to be harder for me to do. It's going to be harder to get.
Okay. Unless, right. Okay. That makes sense.
Especially if you're not telling me a year in advance.
Right. Because once that 11-month window hits, everyone that has points snatches up the hard to get stuff. Well, the ones where you don't have to pay extra for the views and stuff.
Yeah. So so people a lot of times will get those hard to get rooms and then find buyers later.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so that was a nice detour down down DVC.
We made it about DVC. All we gotta do, I just gotta sneak in the California Grill, and I think we're good to go on the episode.
And then
Should I take us out?
Is Geyser Point? Am I still a Geyser Point guy, or am I a Wailulu guy now?
I mean, I think you have to learn how to say Wailulu.
How is it possible that Wailulu is something you never mess up? Like it drives me crazy that that's something you get every single time.
Boys, watch your manners.
Yeah, if you can't say something nice.
Boys.
So once I get my lightning lanes in the past fast passes, I feel like that's a day that where you're psyched now to go on your trip. Your trip is like starting to form in front of you.
Yeah, that is definitely on my.
Yeah, and I mean I'll jump in your the historical context is finally something I appreciate for this, because you mentioned pre-trip. Almost my entire list is things that are leading up to the trip. Like I don't have many. I don't want to say I don't have many things I anticipate once I'm there, but once I'm there, my anticipation is I want to be on the trip. I want to go. Like I want to see the castle, and like I've always said, my first day in Disney should always be a Magic Kingdom day. But my most anticipated moments, and it's kind of funny that most of them don't exist anymore, or at least at the moment. My most favorite thing, other than booking the trip, was you used to be able to book your dining reservations 180 days in advance.
It's 60
and that was
now.
always, it's 60 now, which is still, I guess, that's enough in advance. But like 6 months in advance was a way to get you excited for your trip. You're not going for 6 months, but you get to make all your plans. And I don't remember, was when they did Fast Pass Plus, was that 180 days too, or was that still like 90 days?
Yes, I think it was.
So you could do dining reservations and fast passes at the same time. So that was just a huge,
I thought that was 60 days out.
Maybe
maybe
they staggered.
It became 60 days, or maybe it's when you had an existing theme park reservation, it was 180 days, and I think for staying off property, it was maybe 60 days. But that's all. Even that staggered system is gone now.
Well, it's staggered just in a lower,
a lower time
shorter window.
Because now it's restaurants are 60 days and you are 7 days out. You can get your lightning lanes.
Yep.
So they just shortened the window, but that's so true though about the dining. And dining used to be so much more competitive to get dining reservations.
And I guess maybe it's because there were maybe fewer options, and they've opened so many more restaurants. Disney Springs is now what it is. That maybe the need to fill seats 180 days in advance is no longer. There's enough restaurants that spread out the desire. And
people would like hold on to restaurants and then like not sell them, kind of actually online. That was definitely a thing. There was a Facebook group I was in for a while that like people would post like, I'm about to let go of a Ohana 8 p.m. reservation on September 1st. Comment if you want me to give you or be on the website in 5 minutes and you can get it. Yeah.
Wow. I never knew about that underbelly.
Underground black market for Disney dining reservations.
My next moment. Well, I'm actually going to pivot into the parks. I think a moment of anticipation is when you are waiting for the first mode of Disney transportation. Like when you get to that bus stop or you get to the monorail or waiting online for the Skyliner. I feel like that moment feels like, the peak of anticipation. You're like, here we go.
Yeah.
We're really here. We're doing it. We're gonna take a magical ride to a theme park.
Yeah. I had the same thing. I had the first monorail trip on there.
I mean, monorail is the peak of this experience, but I get a lesser feeling waiting for the bus than I do waiting for the monorail, but I still get pretty psyched for that first bus ride.
Yeah.
I would always say the first ride of a Disney trip is the monorail at MCO. It's the first monorail you ride. So we would always get excited to get on that, and there's probably not as many places in the world that I feel like I could memorize the back of my hand than Orlando Airport, and just knowing exactly like how to get around those terminals, and getting on that tram and hearing the Buddy Dyer welcome to Orlando was always like, that's when it felt like, yeah, you're in Florida. And then you walk out of the departures door and you get hit with like that 95-degree humidity,
that wall of humidity.
America's mayor, Buddy Dyer.
Yeah, let the record show that he is America's true mayor. Don't Google who is America's mayor.
That's so funny. I think Buddy Dyer's announcement, it was on all of our lists, right? That was certainly on mine too. I try to record it every time, and it's so silly. Like, I don't know why. I'm never gonna.
Like, why is that so memorable that it's like? And also, if he ever retires, like, if he ever stops, are they going to replace it? Oh, there's going to be some other guy welcoming to Orlando. They're going to have to replace it with Walt himself.
I think he was just reelected, so that's a good thing.
Thank God.
He's got another 4 years.
4 more years.
So we've gone to MCO. We've heard Buddy Dyer, and now for me, I just want to get to Disney World property as fast as possible, right? And I feel like I am really there when the signs for the road signs change from green
to purple.
To purple, right?
Yeah.
Once then you're on property, and it's like, I'm in this special place,
Yeah.
Yeah.
On my list, I have specifically when you drive under the Walt Disney World,
the welcome sign.
Because if you we've talked about the Magical Express, but an anticipated moment of mine was getting on the Magical Express, and there's an excitement on the Magical Express, much less so than when you have to take the bus back to the airport. But if you had a good bus driver, they would get on the speaker and they would like count down. Going under, 3, 2, 1, you drive under the sign and everyone would cheer. But yeah, going under the sign and getting on property and knowing that you're officially there. Yeah. Big moment.
Yeah. In a similar fashion, I put stepping on to your first destination within the bubble. Like getting out of the vehicle that you've traveled into the bubble with and arriving at a destination, whether that's Springs or your resort or whatever, that's a great moment too, where you're just like, I'm at the top. This is the best. I'm gonna have a really good week.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
So I have some for specific parks, right? Like, Sean, you mentioned when you see the castle for the first time and walking down Main Street, USA, right? One of mine.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a Disney trip until you've seen the castle, right?
Yeah, so right.
You said that a bunch.
I love, and I don't do it enough anymore, but when you go into Epcot, the music in the entrance of Epcot before you reach Spaceship Earth is just always awesome, right? And it's so
do they still play
climatic.
That music?
They made new music, but I think it's just as good.
It is just as good. We got during my bachelor party, multiple people made a comment of how great the music was walking in.
Yeah. It's
non-Disney
really
people were like, "Whoa, this is so cool."
Oh, right, because on Andrews we came into Epcot through the gateway.
Right,
we didn't go through the gateway. Yeah.
But on yours, we went into.
We went right through the front door. Yeah,
and it's got now they have the waterfall, the not a waterfall, fountain. It's really like pretty cool. So the music of Disney in general is just something that get you going. So
Podcast The Ride recently did a very long episode about the power of the theme park loop.
The background music,
stay in Disney.
Very underrated. Yeah.
That's so funny. Retro WDW just did an episode on Epcot music in general.
Okay. Well, this one they had a guy that's a bit of a theme park loop expert. His name is Kevin Tully. They talked pretty in depth about a lot of theme parks, and like it's interesting how he was able to amass his collection.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we had LimeWire and stuff and we were downloading like our favorite band's songs, he was downloading all the soundtracks, that bootleg copies of soundtracks that were played in the parks. So he has stuff that nobody has now.
That's awesome.
Because it's just been lost to time. And he's like, nope, I preserved it. I have this loop. I have that loop. I have all, like, he has everything.
It's a shame that we don't hear enough. The theme park music that was created for Galaxy's Edge. They created like really good theme park. I think it was who's that famous guy? Williams? John Williams. Yeah, I think it was John Williams.
Who's that famous guy?
I got his name there. I got there.
Famous guy Williams.
That famous Williams.
Bernie Williams?
So John Williams created this great music for Galaxy's Edge, and we really don't get to hear it because it wouldn't be being played on the planet. It wouldn't be being played at Black Spire Outpost.
Black Spire Outpost. Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense because it wouldn't fit. I mean, I've said, and I mean, we can cut the tangent short after this, but one of my favorite things to do is go in the World Showcase not after hours, but at night when it's less crowded, because each country has its own music, its own kind of ambiance that you'd never hear when it's all hustle and bustle during the day and there's people coming in and out. But it's really nice to go back and some countries have their own music that they play that you don't really pay attention to during the day.
You hear it in the countries that have good nooks. I hear it. I've heard it in. I hear it in Norway. I hear it in Germany all the time. Especially if you're in Germany and you hang out by the trains, you can hear it there pretty good.
Yep.
Morocco, because it has that whole back area. You can.
It's
hear
so deep. Yeah.
It's one of the best things about the Disney parks is how they understand that music really helps set the mood.
Definitely.
So my last point of most anticipated moment of a trip is probably something we all agree with, whether it made your list or not, is sipping your first non-water drink of the trip.
Yeah.
I'm so glad this is something you said. I'm so glad you said this.
It is on my
nothing feels like vacation when you're like, okay, the first beer of a trip, even the first, the first slushy drink of a trip, the first like it doesn't even have to be an alcoholic thing, just your first like not what you drink every day. It's not a water, it's not a it's not a seltzer, it's a drink. You're drinking something for fun to help raise your mood on vacation.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
I think I'll take one of those newfangled trolleys down to the drugstore soda fountain and meet the boys for a cold sarsaparilla.
So the last thing I have is something that I was debating whether or not to even have on the list, because it's not really remotely Disney, but for the longest time, one of the things I would look forward to the most about going to Disney World, I would say, if I had to put it to paper, my favorite beer is the Cigar City High Life IPA.
Oh yeah, and they're everywhere. It's one of
the
most common beers there.
I first had that beer in Disney World, and Cigar City, based in Tampa, for in the early 2010s, wasn't distributing up north. Like you can get it at 7-Eleven now, but I would look forward to, on those like early 2010s trips, I would actually look forward to being able to have that beer, because I couldn't get it anywhere else. I'd be like, I can go and I can have as much High Lie as I want because I can get it there. So it's just funny you segued that with your first non-alcoholic drink, and I was like, no, yes, now I have to mention it because that's legitimately something I used to look forward to about going to Disney World.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. Was it non-alcoholic or
No,
just
your first non-water drink. So your first
Yeah.
drink that feels like vacation, right?
Yeah. I did have on my list too the first beer in World Showcase. So whether you're drinking around the world or not, there's nothing better than drinking a beer in World Showcase.
I mean, any drink in World Showcase, I think. If you want to start with a margarita.
I was going to say, specifically beer, I might not have a beer until I reach Germany. But if by beer, you just mean the first drink of the World Showcase. For me, it's 9 times out of 10 to be a margarita from Cava.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't all go Canada first, Mexico second.
It's the way to go, though.
I'm a purist. Mexico first.
Mexico first. Just sneak Canada in at the end, even though you'd rather just.
Well, what we used to actually do is we would go to Canada and then come back to the UK and
double
have the
back,
UK be our last because we would spend time at Rose and Crown and we would just go get a Molson or whatever they had at Canada just to have it.
To me, if I go on Living with the Land and then I'm walking a World Showcase, it's not crazy to go to Canada first and then go to Mexico. Like that's
right.
It's to me it feels more on the way than sneaking to Canada before going to the UK.
Yeah,
but I have a different brain sometimes, so it is what it is.
All right, so that does it for my list. If anyone else
that's it for my list too.
Oh, great. So did we nail it? Did we give all of the most anticipated moments of a trip?
I think so. I was gonna talk about Magic Bands, but we just did on the last one, so I figured we don't need to spend too much time on it.
And you don't get anymore.
Right? Yeah, but that's also true. Yeah, it's kind of.
Now you get luggage tags, though. Still get luggage tags.
So I don't get luggage tags.
Well, maybe you need to give them more money.
That's because you're not booked. When's the last time you booked an actual vacation package?
No, I don't know, because actually the last time I stayed on Disney property on cash was 2 years ago. During the summer, Emily and I went down and stayed at the Grand Destino Tower. We stayed club level actually, because they were doing a promotion of 30% off or 20% off, and whenever they do something like drastic like that, I like to look up special rooms like club level or something like that to see if it qualifies. And it did.
Did you book that through Disney directly?
Booked it through Disney directly, okay. Yeah. So we figured this is going to be our only time to stay club level anywhere to see how that experience is. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Grand Destino Tower itself is very nice.
Yes, extremely impressive.
Yeah. All right. So
okay,
we should do a game, huh?
You guys have been promising this game thing.
Yeah.
We kind of have to do it. We promised the people.
Okay. Well, you guys are in luck because I've prepared a new game.
Ooh. Is this
a debut?
It's a debut. Brand new game for you guys. This game is called Two Truths and Fly.
Oh, in our group text, when you mentioned this, I thought those were two different games. I thought you created a game called Fly.
No, this is one game called Two Truths and Fly. It's the classic icebreaker game, Two Truths and a Lie, but it's a Disney version, and I paid homage to Dr. Stevens from the Flight of Passage pre-show.
Okay. Well, you're cheating on Dr. Seeker.
Yeah, I know. Dr. Seeker's replacement, Dr. Stevens.
Yeah.
He fired me.
Not for the Dole Whip, though. Other reasons.
Not because of the Dole Whip problem.
It had nothing to do with having a Dole Whip full of rum. So I've got 5 prompts. I'm going to read 3 statements, and you guys are going to have to figure out which one is the truth and which one can fly. I don't know. It's a lie. Which one's the lie? You guys can each play. The person who gets the most right at the end of this wins. Okay?
Interesting.
I guess like fly and lie makes sense actually because
It can fly away.
Yeah, it's such a lie. Get it out of here. It's a lie.
Get out of here. Fly.
Make it fly.
Away. Yeah. Okay. So the first grouping. U2 was originally the band asked to be the star of Rock and Roller Coaster. Disney Parks is Coca-Cola's largest customer. And then the last one, the name of the organ in 1900 Park Fair at the Grand Floridian is Big Bertha.
All right. So how are we going to? Yeah.
I don't think there's a buzz in. I think you guys both just say which one you think is the lie, and I'll tell you what the lie is.
Okay. I think I know it, but I'll.
Yeah, I have.
So it's not necessarily about being the first to answer. It's about just
there's no first
to give our answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that your number 3, Big Bertha, is the lie.
Okay.
I do not.
Or you?
Good. No, you gotta lock. So here's the thing. You specifically, you have to lock in your answer.
You can't. How I'm reacting to what you're doing is nothing to do with anything.
All right, Big Bertha is gonna be mine.
Okay.
I want to hear you say it's locked in.
It's locked in. I'm locking it in as the game master.
I do not believe that Disney World is Coca-Cola's biggest customer. I think that's the lie.
Sean is correct. Coca-Cola's biggest customer is McDonald's.
Yeah, come on. That was obvious.
Not Disney Parks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a good one. Where'd you come up with how'd you get these lies?
I made them up in my head.
He lied.
I used the thing in my head. Okay, question number 2, or prompt number 2. The property at Walt Disney World was purchased for a total of $5 million. At IAH, Houston's airport, their train system is actually a people mover built by Disney. And the last one is one of the boats on the Jungle Cruise is named the Limpopo Larry.
All right, I think the Limpopo Larry is so specific. Like, there's no way you just came up with that.
Are you calling JJ unoriginal?
No. That's just,
he could never have thought of that.
He could. What was the first one again?
First one is the property at Walt Disney World was purchased for a total of $5 million.
Wow. All right, so I went first last time. So, Sean, why don't you go first this time?
He wants to read my line. I believe that the cost of Disney World's property was far less than $5 million. So I believe that is the lie.
Okay. And Andrew?
I am going to go with the Houston airport. I do think that did happen, but I don't think it was Houston. I think Houston's airport's too new.
Well, you guys are both wrong, and Sean remains in the lead, 1-0. The Limpopo Larry is a name that I made up.
Wow.
So
yes, good. Justice for JJ.
I was playing with a quiz. How I thought of this one is I was playing with doing like a more generic quiz. So a lot of these facts were going to be phrased in forms of questions for a quiz. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions that I had for you guys was just going to be to name any Jungle Cruise boat, and I had the list of them. And I
wouldn't be able to name any of them.
The system of how they name it, it's always an exotic river and then a name after it, and it's usually alliteration. So like Amazon Annie is a Jungle Cruise boat because like Amazon River, Annie, person's name, right? So,
that makes sense. Yeah.
So there's a river in South Africa called the Limpopo, so Limpopo Larry. So it just named it how they would have named it, but there is no Limpopo Larry. So that was
very original.
Okay, third prompt. Sunny Eclipse is from the city of Unork and the planet Zork. The most expensive item ever sold at Disney World is the life-sized R2-D2 in Galaxy's Edge for $25,000. And the last one, legendary voice actor Mel Blanc, aka Bugs Bunny, is the voice of Uncle Orville on Carousel of Progress.
Okay, so I think the Carousel of Progress Bugs Bunny one is true. The second one was the most expensive item ever bought at Walt Disney World is the R2D2.
The life-sized R2D2.
Okay, and the first one was, can you remind me of the first
Sunny
one again?
Eclipse is from the city of Unork on the planet Zork.
Okay. I'm going with the middle. I'm going with that.
Most expensive item?
Most expensive item, yeah. I think there's something here.
I, too, am going with the R2D2 as the lie.
Sean protects his lead. They are both correct.
Ah, damn.
2-1, Sean. The most expensive item sold at Disney World is a custom-made bejeweled Cinderella castle crafted by the Arribas brothers. It was $79,000. And there is a rumor online that the person who purchased it might have been the star of a certain Gladiator movie, Russell Crowe.
Oh, wow. Oh, I think it's pretty widely known that Russell Crowe is actually a Disney adult.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's
He's a fan.
the rumor has it that not only is he a Disney adult, but he also is the person that bought that.
Right. Interesting.
Okay. Sean's got a 2-1 lead after 3 rounds. We've got 2 more to go. Penultimate prompt. The most streamed movie on Disney Plus for 2024 in terms of minutes watched was Cars. On one of the ferry boats that takes you from the TTC to the Magic Kingdom is named the Richard F. Irvine. And the last one, Disney is the second largest buyer of explosives in the world, and the only one ahead of it is the United States government, the military.
Sean, you want to go first on this one?
Yeah, I think the lie is the Disney Plus minutes watched. I don't think it's Cars. That's what I'm going with.
So that's what I was going to go with too. And before JJ tells us if we're right or wrong, I want to propose a change to the rules here. That maybe we fight over this point by us guessing if we're right. If this is correct and that it's not Cars, that we guess which one it actually is, what movie it actually is.
If you want to guess what the movie actually is, I'll give the person who guesses it right an extra point. How about that?
Okay. So does that mean we're both correct?
I was going to say, did you just give away the answer?
No. If you can name, I'm just saying, if you think that's right and you want to guess, there's an extra point at stake if you want to guess who is.
2024, you said?
For 2024.
Because in terms of minutes watched, I'm thinking of people went back to watch. They watched the movie, but people went back to watch a specific part of the movie. Disney Plus in 2024.
I already have my guess. Should I text it to JJ?
No, you're going to say it on the podcast.
No, say it.
I'm going to go with...
Okay.
My lie is that Cars was the most watched, and this isn't like I don't get a point off for guessing wrong, right? It's just an extra.
No. I'm going to guess that being thrown around.
The actual minutes watched is the Hamilton live Broadway show.
Okay.
I'm guessing that the Cars is the lie, and that the most watched is Moana.
Shilby ties it up. It was Moana.
Wow.
Moana had 9.4 billion minutes streamed in 2024. It was the most streamed thing. It was the most streamed movie on the internet, period. Cars was also in the top 10. I should have made it harder. I should have said Encanto. Would Encanto have made it harder for you?
No.
I had heard last year that Moana was the number one streamed movie.
Oh, wow. So you retroactively cheated.
So Cars was in the top. So Cars was in the top 10 at like half. It was like 4.5 billion compared to like 9 billion.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
It's very depressing to know that I knew that the explosive thing was 100% true.
Yeah, that's 100%. So it's all tied up at 3.
Wow.
It all comes down to this.
I thought I'd get to enjoy a free 5th round.
Here are the 3 prompts. The Beach Boys Kokomo music video was shot at the Grand Floridian. The yellow, red, and white tubes when you're boarding Dinosaur are representative of ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise because McDonald's was the original sponsor of the ride. And then the last one is The most bought souvenir at Disney World is depressed coins.
So I'm going with the depressed coins.
Is a lie.
Is a lie.
My guess will be the dinosaur red mayonnaise McDonald's thing is the lie.
It's a Cinderella story for Andrew. He's come back and won. The most bought souvenir at Disney World is the mouse ears.
Oh man, I thought because
I'm actually surprised about that.
The pennies
They're
are so cheap. I just thought about
I know,
Elise
that's why
running
I was like,
around.
they're so cheap. I'm like, maybe it is.
Remember when Elise got one like from everywhere she could?
My mom does it everywhere she goes. Period.
Yeah, well, yeah.
She goes to
They're still everywhere.
She goes to a national park. She gets a pressed penny. When I see pressed penny machines, I'll just buy them for my mom.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I had heard that about the McDonald's, the red, yellow, and
white.
And the first one, I forgot what it was, but I immediately was like, yes, that's true.
Yeah, Beach Boys Kokomo.
Beach Boys Kokomo. Yeah.
I think I've said it on the podcast before. I just love that fact.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good game. I like that.
That was a
game.
fun one.
That was good. Yeah.
And now all those lies can fly.
You had to put that in there.
Yeah, that drop will be in there somewhere.
And fly.
All right, Sean, you want to take us out?
Thanks for listening to another episode of the ReedyGeeks podcast. Like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Any comments, questions, concerns, future titles, or topic ideas, email us at reedygeeks@gmail.com and check us out on our socials at ReedyGeeks. We'll see you next time.
Well, what do you think? We have time to go to the bathroom before the next show? We can't go, fool! We're bolted to the seats!
This week's Honest Send-Off is courtesy of Statler and Waldorf from the balcony. If you have an honest send-off that you want played at the end of one of our episodes, please submit an audio clip to us via our email address, reedygeeks@gmail.com. Reedy Geeks, a Walt Disney World podcast, is hosted and executive produced by Andrew Shopey, Sean Murphy, and JJ Hefner. Music and audio engineering by JJ Hefner.
Bon voyage!